a lot of rounds. I remember seeing his team win that. But that round really was decided on DSN, for whatever reason, randomly taking a quick peek towards lane as he was spotting arch side, and then once he came back, it was literally for less than 2 seconds. Once he came back, SK had already walked out, and he got shot down to 20 health, and he had to run into the site.
Looks like this save's probably gonna fail miserably.
Yeah, Karn is gonna get taken down by Get Right, and there we go. fnatic basically gonna be forced to double save now.
Do you feel like, we were talking about how SK needs to get a good T side in, do you feel like conversely fnatic has to get a lead in the first half? Are they good enough T side to win if they don't win 8 rounds here CT?
I'm not sure how good they are in compared to SK's really good CT side, but like I said, in general I think they are a better T-sided team than CT-sided on this map.
I'd agree.
And that's the thing that always has made this map really interesting for me. First of all, there's so much you can do tactically, but I think it's also if you take, for me, the 3 best maps, Train, Nuke, Inferno. Train and Nuke, very CT-sided maps that require like insane amounts of skill to win on T-side. But Inferno is the only map I think you can say at the top level has no bias. In fact, it just depends on who the team is as to whether they're better as CT or T. And so if you actually get 2 teams who are evenly matched, it makes it like a really good game.
PETA and DSN get kills there during the HLTV lag, but A side gets cleared up once again, and it should be another round for SK. Karn with sloppy movement there, trying to get an AK that doesn't exist. Delpan with a kill on the exist. We'll see if Karn's actually able to get a gun here. Takes out Delpan. Gets taken out by FaZe, and makes it 2-1 for SK. We saw fnatic actually buy a bunch of deagles. That's because they know they're gonna end up having to save a second time, so it was actually not a bad idea to buy deagles as a team. Although I'm not, DSN has had a deagle as well, so I'm actually not sure if he'll be able to afford an actual gun next round, which could, not an actual gun, but rather an op.
With the speed that SK has been attacking, how slow they've been going along apartments, I think it might actually be a good battle for Gux to take if he moves a bit closer along, and then when FaZe peaks, just tries to kill him. Yeah, and that's a battle he can win.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is maybe overlooked a little bit, is that when you compare Delpan, Get Right, FaZe, and Forest, I think the only, or at least let's say Get Right and Forest, I think the only person on fnatic who is equal skill-wise is Gux. I do not think, like, Exist is kinda like in the second tier, I think.
You could probably compare DSN. Exist to FaZe, maybe.
Yeah.
He's maybe in the same range.
But I think FaZe is way more consistent overall, though.
I think FaZe is more of a big game player as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do suffer from the problem that a lot of their guys try to be like veteran team player guys, but it's not really like there's any inexperience from the really skilled players on SK to kind of even that out.
Yeah. I definitely think fnatic needs a fragger instead of PETA. I think DSN and Karn are basically the role players, and PETA's another one too, so that's too much. But we'll see, this is now the first gun round, and fnatic sending 3 people aggressive in the B site again, or at least towards the B side. PETA's aggressive in banana, in the Get Right spot, just holding out a flash. DSN does have an op.
He went for a mid pick, but then decided not to. When he got up, he ran away.
I do feel like some people are too in love with PETA's personality, because he seems like a really friendly, like sort of nice guy from the top pros. But it seems as though some people are really like sort of living in a dream world where he's going to somehow improve like 2-fold over how he ever played in the past. Whereas if you look at like even his best times in teams like MYM, it's not really like he's going to be much better than he is right now. So unless fnatic can somehow gel and do some amazing team playing and put him in this ideal role, I don't think you can really expect like a hugely variable performance from them in the near future.
Yeah, I think the only wild card really is Exist, because we've seen him play. He had that one amazing day basically at Extreme Masters Europe, so we know he's capable of that. But we haven't really seen that since, so he would have to somehow be able to elevate the level of his play consistently up there for them to really be able to challenge teams like SK skill-wise.
Robban's still holding outside of B while the rest go in away.
There's a couple of kills apiece. Gux and Peta. Exist gets the first entry into B. Gets the second one as well, and that's going to be around for fnatic.
Nice play by Exist.
Looked like a very sloppy spray there on the second guy, but gets the job done.
Well, to be fair, Forest's spray was like going all into the box, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah.
This is actually, bearing in mind the game we watched before, another game where I'd really love to see an 8-7 half to either team. I mean, that's the thing.
I feel like with
Continue.
fnatic, I think DSN, I feel like he fares better when he colts more on CT than he does when he ops. Like,
I would say opping against weaker teams works better, because he is able to shut down some teams really well coming up middle with his op, sort of like Markelov style. But I think against really good players like SK, I think something that people underestimate a little bit is how good like top players' movement is, and that really makes a difference for an opper, because these guys are going to be shoulder peeking and just perfectly bunny hopping across all the corners that DSN's holding. There goes Gux. Forest takes him out, and this is now looking like a good entry into the site. Forest with another headshot on a DSN, takes out Peta as well, so that's a 3 kill for Forest. See if they can get the bomb down here. Karn's peeking library right now. Gets spotted by Forest as well. And bomb's about to get planted.
Robban just waiting for Karn.
See, Forest is gonna spot Exist here, or Karn rather.
And that's round.
And,
And then he headshots him as well.
And that's gonna go to ageltv.org highlight clip near you very soon.
yeah, pretty much anytime Forrest plays the other Swedish teams, he decimates them.
Yeah, he's definitely been doing that for years and years and years. And there really must be some kind of extra motivation for him when playing fellow Swedes. There's no other way that would happen like this.
Well, plus so many of the players who you'd want to counter Forest pretty much patterned their entire game style on Forest, and since he's like the originator of that style in the modern era, like they're always going to be sort of like lesser copies.
Yeah,
and also it's really comfortable to play against your own style.
Yeah, and also when we know how, like, okay, ever since the whole Fnatic changes at the end of last year, we remember how I don't think Karn has been very friendly overall towards like Get Right and Gux originally before he rejoined, but I haven't heard Karn say a single bad thing about Forest. I don't think, not a single bad thing. And you know, he must.
The closest I think he's ever come to saying anything was when he implied that Fnatic took the right choice by sticking with him and DSN, and he only said that like in the literal afterglow of having won Kiev and feeling like being vindicated. So I've never heard anything since then where he ever talked shit about Forest.
But when stuff like that happens, where he just takes the entire team out, you know he has to wonder, like, where's that guy not on my side anymore?
Well, plus you have to wonder what Forest thinks, because I'm sure Forest, especially when he had Gux and Get Right with him, then when Karn and DSN were making their plays and were winning rounds and were having a nice impact and winning like a 2v2, he was thinking like, oh, these guys always do their job, you know, they win their rounds that help me win my rounds. But now when he's owning the fuck out of Karn and DSN every time they play, you have to wonder if he thinks like, yeah, I'm glad I'm not playing with that guy anymore. And he probably feels vindicated actually himself that they were too old and like it was time to move on to the next generation.
Yeah. Delpon with a couple of kills there, but it's not going to be enough. They get taken out fairly easily.
And back to what you're saying about Forrest, Tommy, like always owning Swedes or whatever. I feel like any team that tries to straight out aim Forrest is going to lose that battle most of the time. If you notice, like when MTW plays against Forrest rarely has huge games versus MTW, and I feel like it's mostly because they're using a lot of flashbangs and smokes and kind of dismantling him from just posting up and out-aiming them. And on CT, they're playing very coordinated, and multiple people are always shooting back at him.
Agreed. That's a good point to make actually. The sick thing about Forrest is too that he's like a really good entry killer, possibly the best in the game. He's not just one of those guys like Get Right who's gonna clean up the round after his teammates get him in that comfortable 3v3.
Okay, and Gux is actually right side of mid now, and it's Peter who's just watching the balcony from that box again. And I think it's actually a problem that he always pulls back, because even though he gets some great kills now, actually it's going to work out great for this round.
We'll see.
But the problem is he just always allows them to get over, and he's never going to kill like 3 guys in a row with 1 spray.
2v2 is still actually favorable for T's here if they can get the bomb down. Also, Exist is smartly flanking holes, so we'll see if SK is actually going to catch up to that. Depends if Get Right's going to try to get the bomb down.
Get Right is not going to look up there, I don't think. Well, he does right now. Oh, he spots him. But he chooses to spray instead.
Seems like a weak play by Exist there. I feel like he should have just waited a little more. I feel like Exist definitely blew that round for fnatic.
Okay, so at the moment in the game, one thing you can point out is that Gux hasn't really been effective at all. Like, what do you think they have to change to give him a chance to, like, get in the game?
I actually feel like they've been almost anti-ing Gux. We saw the pistol round where they had that one flash in halls that made Gux have to fall back, and that just really graped him, that pistol. And the round where Forrest aced, they basically flashed Gux back, and Forrest just ran out pre-firing, knowing where Gux was going to fall back. So I think they figured that it might actually work better to just get rid of Gux first in the round, rather than avoiding him, since he's the most skilled player on the team. So maybe they feel like they can just kind of counter him, knowing what he's going to do early on in the round. PETA has actually done a good job getting kills in the A site, but like last round really should have been a round for fnatic, and that was, first of all, they had like I want to say a 4v2, and then the first 2 guys kind of died because they couldn't get away, but then Exist really messed up that round. I feel like he peaked way too early, or he should have at least just walked out instead of trying to spam through the floor. But it's 7-3 right now, and it's going to be another gun round. Fnatic sending 3 people towards B again.
I was actually going to say the same thing that you were about PETA. I thought he was playing really well at the lane side. He got almost 2, maybe even 3 kills one round, holding that lane from the site passively. If Gux could get even just 1 kill of a Halls guy, they would win almost every one of these A rounds, I think.
Agreed.
3 guys at the top of Banana for Fnatic. But Robin's going to push up, and he's going to meet them any second. There was some bad spray by Get Right there. I mean, I'm going to see how this round plays out, but I want to comment on that actually. Okay, SK going back. Gux holding middle. I might have time to say it now actually. Actually, it's one thing about Get Right that I've always thought was one area of his game that was maybe slightly underdeveloped. Is like he's so good at spray, in mid-range especially, that sometimes he just like forgoes technique when he could just get a lot of much smarter kills, because his aim is actually so good he could just tap people to death at that range. Whereas why you can give Exist a chance to just stand there and just spray his FAMAS at you when you've got a Colt, or an AK or whatever it was. Which is like actually a difference you can make between like a Forrest and a Get Right. Like Forrest is just always flawless in his technique. It's so polished every time. That's a great kill by Exist there.
That was a real nice shot. Felt like threat right there.
Ooh, what a shot. Actually, he would be more like, ooh, what a shot.
Yeah, I wasn't enthusiastic enough, but it's probably because I'm really tired.
And then he'd be like, he's such a great player. And he always gets every word, and then just when he has like real enthusiasm, just like bends it like around 5 corners and elongates it.
Yeah, he loves it. Most enthusiastic.
It does actually get you into it a bit though, except when he does it on like really retarded kills. That's the funny thing though, when someone is that good at analysis, you don't really need to add in fake enthusiasm or whatever. Like if you just stick to your analysis, it's probably going to be better.
There are a couple big entries by Forrest and Get Right, then Delpan, and that's going to be an easy round for SK.
Let's see if DSN can actually hold this up, because Fnatic have lost so many guns when they tried to save.
Probably not.
Karn
There's still way
1v1
too
in
much
forest.
time left on a bomb.
Superior play.